Fadil, are you there? Fadil, can you hear me, Fadil? Please respond. Samuel, can you hear me? Samuel? Can, am I audible there, or is it only with the people who I'm calling the names?
Ma'am, you're audible.
Okay. Jonathan. Can you give us a summary?
Ma'am, is it me?
Yeah.
Uh, Ma'am, like last class, we started with the incomplete combustion. Uh, the like carbon black is formed there as a final product. Then controlled oxidation, where depending on the catalyst that we use, we can get different products from uh, alkenes. Then after that, we did isomerization. From the normal alkene, you can get many the isomers. Then aromatization for getting benzene. And for that a conjugated system, we can use alkenes to get that. So for benzene, you use hexane. And if you want a CH3 or Cl group attached, then there needs to be a methyl group as a branch. So then after that, yeah, that's it, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Jonathan. So, we have started with the reactions of alkanes last class. So, the five reactions have been discussed. The first one was like substitution reaction, in which we discussed halogenation. That was the first one. Halogenation we discussed with the example. Then we went for combustion. Combustion is reaction with oxygen, and because of this heat energy given out during the combustion, alkanes are used as fuels. Then we discussed about controlled oxidation, and with different examples with the catalyst, they give different types of product. You can get alcohol, aldehyde, carboxylic acid, all these compounds from alkanes. We discuss about isomerization. Here basically a normal alkane, that is unbranched normal linear chain compound, can be converted to their branched compounds on treatment with anhydrous aluminum chloride. That is what isomerization. Here you will be getting more than one product based on what is the starting compound. Then we discuss about aromatization, and here basically as you're converting an alkane to an aromatic compound, and the simplest example was the preparation of benzene. So benzene is a 6 carbon conjugated system. For that you need to start with a 6 carbon alkane, that is hexane. Okay, so now let's move to this continuation in the sixth reaction for alkane, that is reaction with steam. So normally alkanes, we know that it can't react with water that is in the liquid state, because it's like water is it's not soluble in water because of their polarity nature. But reaction with steam is possible, that is with very high temperature. If you have noted that the temperature is 1273 Kelvin. That's a very high temperature that you know that 298 Kelvin is the room temperature. So compared to room temperature, you can see how much difference is there in this 1273 Kelvin means. That means it requires a very high energy heat, and a usage of nickel catalyst also is there. That is, in presence of nickel on heating strongly for up to 1273 Kelvin, then you will be getting that it is converted into carbon monoxide and hydrogen. So you will be getting carbon monoxide and hydrogen on the reaction with steam. It is normally at normal condition at room temperature. It does not react with water. But with steam at very high temperature, that is in vapor state, it reacts and forms carbon monoxide and hydrogen, and the catalyst used is nickel catalyst. A simple reaction, and here what to be noted is the temperature and the usage of catalyst. So this is the sixth reaction. There is only one more reaction left in alkane, the final reaction of an alkane. So is it clear, the reaction with steam?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let's move to the final one, the last reaction which we have to discuss in alkane, that is pyrolysis, which is also is known as cracking. That is the industrial term. Cracking is what we use in industrial term. You might have heard about cracking of hydrocarbon, petrol, cracking of petroleum. So that means the term means that you are breaking down the long chain compound or bigger molecule to smaller one. That is what pyrolysis or the cracking generally mean. That means we are only a strong heating with using very high temperature on heating, higher alkane decompose or break down into lower members. So here, when alkanes, that is carbon single bonded compounds on heating, you will get a mix of alkanes and alkene. That is the only thing to be noted. You will get mix of alkanes and alkene. So, and here also, as we discussed earlier, there are different probability of getting like different products are there. Say example, if you look into the example given below, C6H14, that is hexane. 6 carbon atom and 14 hydrogen atom, and on strong heating it can either form hexene, that is double bonded compound. You can see C6H12, that is hexene and hydrogen. The second probability is that it may form a butene, that is C4H8 is butene plus ethane. This is butene, that is again a double bond alkene and ethane. The third probability is like it is forming propene, the 3 carbon alkene, and here you are getting ethene and methane. So you will be thinking like, how can you predict the type of product? Here, there are different variety of products are possible, and in the chemical like industry, they use different catalysts to get a particular type of product. But that you don't have to learn in detail. Only one thing is there, you can write any combination. Only thing is that the number of carbon atom and hydrogen atom before and after the cracking should be equal. Say if you take one first example, C6H14, that is 6 carbon atom and 14 hydrogen. And here if you see C6H12 plus hydrogen. So here also total number of carbon and hydrogen gets equal. And in the second example, C4H8 and C2H6. So 4 plus 2, 6 carbon, and 8 plus 6, 14 hydrogen. And the third example also you can see 3 carbon, 3 plus 2 plus 1, again 6 carbon, and 6 plus 4 plus 4, again 14 hydrogen. So generally you can write any combination if the questions comes about pyrolysis. Only make sure that it has minimum one alkene should be there, and the number of carbon atom and hydrogen should be equal. So if you want to try another one, let's do for C5 H12 pending. The easy way of cracking is that an alkane can be converted to alkene. So pentane means pentene is C5H10 plus hydrogen. That is the easy way of showing an pyrolysis or cracking, that an alkane is converted into an alkene plus hydrogen. Okay. Other ways, like you can write any combination, say you write propene plus C2H6 ethane. So one member should be an alkene. This is an alkene and this is an alkane. Minimum one alkene should be there. Number of alkene can be more, but minimum one alkene you need to show in this uh, decomposition or pyrolysis. Am I clear?
Ma'am, so like we can choose which one to write for the
Yeah.
second one. Okay.
Yeah, because as long as you're not learning about, because there are certain type of catalysts they used in industry, so that you will get only specific product. So here there are three different combinations shown, and these combinations you will get when you use certain kind of zeolites. That is the type of catalyst they use. Okay, so there are different types of zeolites are there, and you will get different type of product. But as you're not learning in to the detail of cracking, you just need the outline. So you can see that different possibilities there based on different catalysts you use. So you have the freedom to write any combination if the question asks about pyrolysis or cracking.
All right, ma'am.
Okay, anyway, just understand pyrolysis it is the breaking down of a bigger molecule to smaller one. That is what pyrolysis mean. And in industrially, the same thing is known as cracking, breaking down into smaller units. So alkanes of higher members break down into combination of alkanes and alkenes. That is what here we mention explains as pyrolysis or cracking. Different types of combinations are possible. You can write any one among this, but always make sure that when you are writing in the product side, there is minimum one alkene is there, and the number of carbon atom of the molecule starting compound should be equal to the number of atoms, total number of atoms in all the products. If you maintain that thing, then whatever you write will be correct. If you maintain these 2 points while writing the equation, then whatever equation you write will be correct. Minimum one alkene as a product, and the total number of carbon and hydrogen should be equal to the starting compound. That is the only two things you need to keep in your mind while writing an equation or framing an equation for pyrolysis or cracking. Any doubt in this? I hope it is clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that means we have done all like what all things we have to discuss in alkane. That is, we started with preparation, physical properties and chemical properties. Chemical properties mean their reactions with other substances. So there were 7 chemical reactions that we have discussed, and this is how all these reactions look like. From starting from substitution reaction, combustion, controlled oxidation, isomerization, aromatization, reaction with steam, and pyrolysis. 7 reactions of
Ma'am,
alkane. Yeah.
can you show the previous slide? Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So these notes are already uploaded till pyrolysis for alkene. That is the first section. Alkenes we have completed. Like this, we have to go for alkenes, alkynes, and aromatic compound, that is benzene. Only benzene we will discuss. So that is much is left in this chapter. But you can see that when you are moving to alkene, some of the reactions of alkanes will be repeating over there. So that is another important things in organic. A reaction you are learning here, you will find next year also same reaction. So here you are learning as a preparation method. Maybe next time thing you will learn as its reaction. So all these reactions are interrelated. So you know how to convert an alkene to an alkene. Similarly, that will be used as a alkene part of this chapter. So all these reactions are interconnected. So it will be like it will become more easier once you move to the next content. So without much delay, let's move to the alkenes. Alkenes are, as we discussed earlier, it's a double bonded hydrocarbon. Here also you have carbon and hydrogens only, but only difference is that there is certain double bonds present in the compound. And here also we are basically looking for preparation, physical and chemical properties. So let's start with preparation. First one is from alkynes. Okay. That is, if you can have a triple bonded compound converted into a double bonded, that is what from alkynes you can prepare an alkenes basically using two different methods. The first one is using Lindlar's catalyst. Lindlar's catalyst mean this is palladized charcoal, that is you can see palladium in charcoal. Charcoal is a form of carbon, that is why we write palladium slash carbon, which means palladized charcoal. We use charcoal in the form like carbon in the form of charcoal. So you can write just PD slash C just to specify the catalyst, Lindlar's catalyst. So here what happens is like whenever you have a triple bond, okay, and when you are breaking a bond, one bond is broken mean two hydrogen atoms are added. One atom, each carbon will get one hydrogen. So here it's you can easily say that one bond is breaking down, and instead of that bond, one atom each is added to the carbon atoms. So this is what happens in the case of Lindlar's catalyst. This is kind of reduction. Reduction mean adding hydrogen. In organic, we basically use reduction for adding hydrogen. So you're adding a hydrogen molecule in presence of a catalyst, and this particular catalyst used here is Lindlar's catalyst, which is palladized charcoal. Okay, and here one important thing to be noted is about the type of product you get. So alkenes are slightly different because of the double bond compared to alkanes, right? So there are one more type of isomerism that is very special and specific to alkenes. Okay, so let's discuss that so that we will come back to the discussion Lindlar's catalyst again. So if you have a double bonded carbon, okay, and let's see, this is the compound. I'm just writing R and R dash just to say that there are two alkyl groups, and just to differentiate these two alkyl group I have just put R and R dash. It could be same, it could be different, but for a general purpose I'm just showing R and R dash. Okay. So let me draw two diagrams over here. So what is the difference between these two diagrams? What is the difference between these two? Is it same or is it different? These two compound, like I'm
Ma'am,
just
it's different. Like for the second one, it's like diagonally opposite the hydrogen carbons,
but
hydrogen
what
atoms.
is formula, molecular formula, the chemical formula of the compound, the type of groups present?
Ma'am, alkene.
Both are alkene, and if you write their molecular formula, it will be C2H2R dash, right? There are two carbon, two hydrogen, and one R group and one R dash group. And the same thing is applicable in the second molecule also, right? Two carbons, two hydrogens, and one R group and one R dash group. That means they chemically they're same because they contain the same number of carbon atoms, hydrogen atom and alkyl groups, right? So the compound is same, but as Prasanna was pointing out, the arrangement is different, right? The positioning of the group is different. So three-dimensional arrangement is different. Here you can see the R groups are on same side, right? And here the R groups are opposite side, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this is a type of isomerism possible in alkenes. This kind of isomerism was not possible for alkenes. So this is a special type of isomerism possible for alkene due to the double bond and their positioning of the groups around the double bonded carbon. So here you can say both are same molecular formula, but their arrangement is different. Here, the alkyl groups or any functional group, it could be alkyl group or any functional group, they are on same side of the compound. So these kind of isomers are called cis isomer. That means cis means same or same side. If it is on the opposite side, then we call it as trans isomer. This is a very important thing to be noted as an isomerism in alkene, cis and trans isomerism, which is also known as geometrical isomerism. So geometrical or cis-trans isomerism, that is how we specify these kind of isomerism, geometrical or cis-trans isomerism. Here, the molecular formula of the compound is same. The only difference is in the arrangement, or you can say the positioning of the groups in space. If the alkyl groups or the functional groups attached to the double bonded carbons are on the same side, then we call that isomer as a cis isomer. And in other turn, if the alkyl group or the functional group presents are positioning on the opposite direction, then we call it as trans isomer. So this isomerism is known as geometrical isomerism or cis-trans isomerism.
Ma'am, so this is not possible in alkanes, right?
Yeah, in alkenes it is not possible. So this is what another new type of isomerism that you're learning specifically for alkenes. And this is due to the presence of double bonds in between the carbon atoms in these compounds. So I'll just repeat one more time because it's very important. Then only you can understand the difference in this preparation. Okay. So geometrical isomerism or cis-trans isomerism is very specific to alkene. So it is basically looking around the carbon-carbon double bonds. So around the carbon-carbon double bond, if the alkyl groups or any other branches or any other functional group present, if these are present on the same side of the compound, then we call that isomer as cis. And if it is positioning on the opposite direction, then we call that a particular isomer as trans isomer. But here cis and trans are technically, chemically they're same because their molecular formula is same, the number of atoms and the groups present is same. Only difference in cis and trans isomer is their positioning of the functional groups or alkyl groups in the compound. So that is why we call it as geometrical or cis-trans isomerism, because it's related to their geometry, arrangement in space. When you write it as a molecular formula, the chemical formula is same. Only while arranging in geometry, the arrangement is different. The functional groups or the alkyl groups branches are on the same side or different side. Then we call it as cis or trans isomer. Am I clear this? Geometrical and cis-trans isomerism. Please respond, please ask question, then only I can, I know whether should I take more examples to explain or this is fine.
Ma'am, does this work in alkynes?
Alkynes, no, it is not possible because if you have a triple bond, then there is only one valency left. So positioning in the same side and opposite side is not possible here because there is only one valency left after the triple bond.
All right, ma'am.
So that is why cis-trans isomerism is very specific to alkenes or the double bonded compounds. Any other doubts? Geometrical or cis-trans? Is it clear? Should I call the names?
It's clear, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
Understood.
Okay. Fine. So let's come back to our discussion. This was something general thing. And what we are discussing is preparation of alkenes. And the first method is from alkynes. And when we use Lindblad catalyst, so usually if you have a triple bond and when you add hydrogen, it will convert into double bond. But the important thing to be noted here, when you are using Lindblad catalyst, you will get only cis. That is the important thing. That is why we discussed about cis-trans isomerism, because when we use Lindblad's catalyst, that is pelletized charcoal, the alkene formed will be a cis isomer. You will get only cis isomer if you start with an alkane in using Lindblad's catalyst. But the same compound, if you use another condition, that is sodium in liquid ammonia, then what you will get is a trans product. So based on the question, you need to use different catalysts or the condition to get the desired product. So if you are looking for a cis product, cis alkene, then you have to use the Lindblad's catalyst. If you are looking for a trans alkene, then you have to use sodium in liquid ammonia. Okay, for that, let's see an example. What is this compound? What is the name of this compound? CH3, C triple bond C, CH2, CH3. What is the name of this compound?
Ma'am, is it pen 2-yne?
Yeah, it is pent because 5 carbon chain, and on the second carbon atom you have a triple bond. So that is why pent 2-yne. Okay, so let's do the reduction with pen 2-yne. Both the reduction we'll do. First reduction is Lindblad's catalyst, that is adding hydrogen, so that you can even show on the arrows also hydrogen is added in presence of palladium, pelletized charcoal. So what will be the product you will be getting? During reduction, what is happening? What is happening to triple bond?
It's reduced to double bond.
It reduced to double bond. Okay, so I'm just showing it as double bond. As you're getting only trans product, sorry, cis product using Lindblad catalyst. Okay, so here there will be CH3 group and hydrogen will be added to that carbon. So this is the alkyl group present, and this is the another alkyl group, okay, which can be written. So here cis product mean that CH2 CH3 can be written as C2H5. So this is a cis isomer. And what is the name of this product? What is the name of this compound? It will be pent to ene, because only change happening to the triple bond is that it has been converted to double bond. There is no other change, but we are showing in this way just to show that the product formed is trans. If you name also, it will be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, it's a 5 carbon chain with double bond on the second carbon. That is, it's a pent to ene, but we say that this is cis pent to ene because you have used Lindblad catalyst. Right? And if you use sodium and liquid ammonia, that is the second type of catalyst condition we can use. Catalyst we can use sodium metal in presence of liquid ammonia. Again, you are adding hydrogen in presence of sodium and liquid ammonia. What will be the change you will be getting? The same product or the different product?
I mean, like get the trans version of it.
Yeah, ma'am. The isomerism will change.
Yeah, you will get trans. You can draw it in any other way, CH3 up and C2H5 down, whatever way, but it will be trans. It should be in the opposite direction. So this will be trans pent to ene. Okay? This will be trans pent to ene. So pent to ene is the product, whether it's a cis isomer or trans isomer, that is decided by the catalyst you are using. If you are using Lindblad catalyst, that is pelletized charcoal, you will get cis product. If you are using sodium metal in presence of liquid ammonia, you will get the trans product. So that is what you need to understand in the first preparation for alkenes from alkynes. Any doubt in this?
No, ma'am.
Ma'am, like if you wrote CH3, ma'am, for cis pentoene, if you wrote CH3 on the right and C2H5 on the left, will it be the same? Or like if you just
On
switch the position of methyl and ethyl groups for cis
both on
pentoene?
the downward direction. That's what you meant? This
No,
way?
ma'am, like ma'am, like if you put CH3 where C2H5 is right now and C2H5 where CH3 is.
This
Yeah.
way?
So will that be the
Correct. Same thing only. Then you will start the numbering over here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's the same thing only.
all right,
The
ma'am.
compound is same, right? Yeah. As far as the name is same while using the IUPAC rule, then you don't have to worry about its position. It should be same compound. That's the only condition. It should be penned to in whatever way you draw. See, I can draw in this way also, like cis pen to in means CH3 can be down here, C2H5 can be down here. It should not be that it should be on upper side. Because as far as the compound is same, how we draw doesn't make any difference on it.
All right,
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay, so this is what the first method of preparation of an alkene from alkyne. using reduction can be done in two ways. So reduction is technically, if you can make a small box and write in organic, basically reduction mean adding hydrogen, where you can break a double bond and convert into a single bond, or it could be a triple bond converted into a double bond. So we have seen the reduction of a double bond to single bond in the first alkane preparation. What was that catalyst? Hydrogen in presence of platinum, palladium and nickel. That where your double bond is converted into a single bond, right? So that was the preparation of an alkenes. Here an alkyne to alkene, you are using another type of catalyst, that is Lindblad catalyst, palladium in charcoal, or you can use sodium in liquid ammonia. So everywhere it is reduction, but to get a desired product you have to use a particular type of catalyst. That is the only thing is changing in the reduction. Okay, I hope it is clear. If you have any doubt and if your audio is not working, you can just put in the chat box so that I will repeat. I'm looking on the chat box simultaneously. So if you have anything to ask and you don't want to, like, if your audio is not working or you want to ask through the microphone, please put it as a message.
Ma'am, is the name of the second one trans-pentene?
Yeah,
Is it
same
the
thing.
same?
Name will be same. Only thing is that you have to write cis and trans before the name. IUPAC name will be same
Okay.
because they're technically same molecule. Only there is a difference is there only the arrangement in space, geometrical arrangement.
All right, ma'am.
Okay. So another example, this is just a question to just think from your side. Propyne, that is a triple bonded alkyne, 3 carbon alkyne. On using Lindblad catalyst, you got a propene. So will propene thus obtained show geometrical isomerism? That's the question. Maheshwar, you can respond please on this question. You can even type the message if your audio is not working. Or somebody else, anybody. Will propene show geometrical isomerism? That is, cis-trans isomers are possible or
Ma'am,
not?
it won't, right?
Why?
Because
Because sorry,
there are 3 hydrogen.
Hmm.
There are 3 hydrogen atoms and there's only one methyl group.
So you cannot say that whether it's the same side or opposite side, right?
Yes, ma'am, exactly.
So that's the reason, even though it's a double bond, but if you don't have something to differentiate on the same side or opposite side, then geometrical isomerism is not possible. Okay. So here propene you will get from propyne, whether it's a Lindblad catalyst or whether sodium in liquid ammonia, you will get the same product because here you cannot differentiate it as a cis or trans because there is only one alkyl group and there is nothing to specify at the same side or opposite side. So here no cis or trans isomers for propene. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So that is all about the first reaction where you can convert an alkyne to an alkene. Next one is alkyl halide. Preparation of an alkene from alkyl halide. So this one and the next reactions are of the same category. If you understood this, next one is going to be the same format. You can get it very easily. Alkyl halides mean hydrocarbon with halogen, alkene with halogen, you can say more specifically. So here what happens is like you can remove hydrogen halides, or a halogen will go along with the hydrogen. So that can be removed, and this kind of removal of hydrogen and halogen is called dehydrohalogenation. So hydrogen halide means the example HCl, hydrogen and a halogen. That is an example of hydrogen halide. HBr, HI. Okay, so all these are examples of hydrogen halide. So if you are removing a hydrogen halide from a compound, then it is known as dehydrohalogenation. So as we discussed also, dehydration means removal of water. Decarboxylation means removal of carboxylic group. Like that, dehydrohalogenation means hydrogen halides are removed from the compound. Okay, so here you can prepare an alkene by removing hydrogen halide from alkyl halides, and this undergo a method called beta elimination. The mechanism is under beta elimination. So beta elimination is nothing. Say example, you got a compound, say this is the functional group. I'm just writing it as Y. So that is for general thing. Okay, not only for halogen, any compound, just say this is the functional group. Functional group. It could be alcohol, it could be carboxylic group, it could be aldehyde, anything, okay, amine, anything it could be. So that is a functional group. So normally there are certain terminology which we use to differentiate the carbon. So functional carbon directly attached to the functional group is called alpha carbon. We just specify it as alpha carbon. Alpha carbon means the carbon which is attached directly with the functional group. Okay. Then carbon next to the alpha carbon will be beta carbon. Okay. And carbon next to the beta carbon will be gamma. So alpha, beta, gamma, delta, like that it will be extended. But mostly we are using alpha and beta positions are more important, more effective. So this is based on its arrangement of the position from the functional group. So the functional group is directly attached to the carbon atom, mean that carbon is alpha, and the neighboring carbon is beta, and the next one is gamma. Like that it will be extended. Just the Greek letters to specify the distance from the functional group and carbon atom. So alpha carbon is the carbon which is close to the functional group. The maximum, the shortest distance is from alpha carbon to the functional group. Beta carbon is somewhat more far away from alpha carbon, that is functional group and beta carbon. So like that we just specify the carbon atoms of alpha, beta and gamma with respect to its position from the functional group. Okay, so that is the terminology of alpha, beta and gamma. So here it undergoes beta elimination, mean you have X group, that is the halogen, which can be chlorine, bromine or iodine. So halogen directly attached to the carbon, that carbon is alpha. As you can see here, this is alpha carbon and neighboring carbon is beta. So you have to remove the halogen and the hydrogen together. That is why it is dehydrohalogenation. One removal of one halogen atom and one hydrogen atom. So halogen is already going, and but there are many hydrogens. Okay, so which hydrogen to be going is from the beta position. That means there are hydrogens in the alpha position, but that hydrogen will not go. Hydrogen will go on from the beta carbon. That is why this is known as beta elimination, because hydrogen halide, halogen and hydrogen from the beta position will go, and it's removal of dehydro halogenation. Am I clear?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
here basically, yeah, here
Yes.
basically what happens is like you are removing H and X so that the bonds are broken. So in order to make it covalency 4, the double bond is made between the carbon atom. Okay. So here it's just like removing hydrogen and halogen. 11B. 11B. Okay. So hydrogen and halogen. And which hydrogen to be going, that is why we call it as beta elimination, because it is at the beta position. Hydrogen from the beta position is going. There are 2 hydrogen atom in the alpha carbon. That hydrogen cannot be removed. So halogens and hydrogen from the beta position is removed and you get an alkene. That is why this reaction is known as beta elimination. Elimination is removal of hydrogen and halogen. But here the hydrogen is from the beta position with respect to the halogen. That is why it is known as beta elimination. And the condition is alcoholic potash. Potash means potassium hydroxide. Dissolved in any alcohol like ethanol, methanol, propanol, etc. Any alcohol with potassium hydroxide. So this is the second method. Yeah.
Why double bond is coming in the after the reaction happens?
Yeah. So when you're removing something, see, carbon was having 4 valency, covalency. That is the basic thing in all the reactions of organic compounds. That means carbon should have 4 bonds all the time to be making it as a stable thing. So in this compound, the starting material, you can see alpha carbon or beta carbon was having 4, covalency is 4. 4 bonds are there. So when you are removing H and X, that means from both the carbon, one bond is broken. That is removed, eliminating. That means then it has to stabilize. How it will stabilize? By making a bond between the carbon atom. That is how a double bond is formed. So when a bond is breaking down, you are adding something across the carbon atom, and when the atoms like already existing bonds are removing, then the double bond or the triple bond is created. A bond between the carbon atom will be formed when you are eliminating something from the compound. And when you are adding something, then the double bond or the triple bond breaks down and it is getting added across the atom. So that is the basic essence of all these reactions of alkanes, alkenes and alkynes. See, the previous example, you are breaking down one bond and hydrogen is added to the same compound. So it's an example of adding hydrogen, right? It's addition, your existing compound, just adding hydrogen so that to accommodate that hydrogen, one of the bond is breaking down. So before and after, the covalency of carbon is 4. But when you look into this reaction, you're eliminating something, and in order to attain stability, a second bond is created between the carbon. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am. It's clear.
Yes.
Okay. So that is the second method, alkyl halide. Removing hydrogen and halogen, dehydrohalogenation happens. In the mechanism is beta elimination. That is, hydrogen and the beta carbon will be removing along with the halogens. And the condition is alcoholic potassium hydroxide. Okay. We'll do one thing. We'll just take it's a first period is also chemistry. I know it's too much. So we'll just take a 5 minutes break. Don't stay in the call only, don't move out. Then we'll continue.
All right, ma'am. Thank you.